I mean, everybody farts, right? Everybody farts.
Yep.
Everybody takes a shit.
Yep.
How come
True.
we don't do those things out in public, like on the street?
Do you think we're actually to the point where we're just so tired of it that we don't care? We want to be left alone. We're so wrapped up in just trying to make it through each fucking day that we don't have
I think,
time to
yeah,
sit here and say something that's objective to something that Jane
I do.
Fonda says.
Hey, this is for all of our female listeners out there. Are there any hot firemen?
I'm the wrong person to ask. I
All
don't
right.
date females.
Are they in uniform, big, and with a mustache?
You're about to listen to Whiskey Hell Podcast, a show centered on recent news, excellent craft beer, and absolute debauchery. While the guys are getting ready, you can reach them on Twitter at whiskey_hell. You can also go to the whiskeyhellpod.com or email them at whiskeyhellpod@gmail.com. At the end, be sure to drop them a review as a thank you for the content. Looks like they're ready. Enjoy the show. And listener discretion is advised.
Ten, nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
It is Saturday, June 3rd, 7:43 in the evening. This is Whiskey Hell, your week in review. The news show that we record live. It's unscripted, shenanigan-inducing, unapologetic. Well, at least we hope to be unapologetic. And it's us. How you doing, Fitz?
Doing all right. Hanging in there. Glad to be here, man. You know, we say it every week, but God, I so look forward to this moment of the week, and it's here now. And I some of our shows go a little long. I was thinking about this earlier today. Some of our shows go a little long, and I think it's because we don't want it to end. And I'm sure the listeners out there are like, okay, you guys have that's enough. That's enough whiskey hell.
Please stop.
But yeah, please no. I just don't want it to end. So if we get a little long winded, apologies, but we just really like doing this shit. So anyway, I'm here. I'm excited. We got some. It was kind of a slow week, but also we have some really kind of deep shit to get into tonight, and I'm kind of looking forward to it.
We do have some deep shit to get into, and some stuff that's out of the blue. One of the things that we were getting really tired of was having to live in Twitter, and it wasn't that we had to. I think we get sucked into it, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Some of the normal sources that we deal with are you're pulling a lot of TikTok videos up from online, like documentaries and like TikTok news shows and YouTube news shows. That's some of the stuff that you pull up a lot of. And I know I kind of let myself get into this. Well, I'm just going to go and rely on the Twitter feed, right? What's the algo going to bring me? Which is so fucking lazy. I shouldn't be doing that. But this week we kind of, I think we got off the beaten track, and I think that's kind of how we were for quite a while. And I think
Be nice
we're
going off
road.
roading. Yeah. Yep, exactly.
So we do have some subject matter that we have not gotten into before. Mainly, we're going to talk about the flat Earth tonight. That'll be fun. So we also have a little bit of climate for you. What the hell else? Hunter's laptop's finally open for everybody. That's a big one.
Oh, good God. What a fucking train wreck. Wow. I mean, it needed to happen. Yeah, right, exactly. It needed to happen. You know, that one was like kind of ripping the Band-Aid off, though. That's just there's a lot of stuff, and I'll be perfectly honest before we even get into it tonight on the show. I have not gone on the website and looked at it. I'm just seeing people's reactions on Twitter. Someone did a TikTok like they were just kind of filming themselves as they went on and saw it for the first time. Your reaction was similar. I know it's got to be bad, and so it's out there. It had to be done, but what's well, I guess we can get into it. But what's being done about it? Who's going to hire the four horsemen to draw and quarter this asshole?
Well, I think that's something that we're going to get into. I think that's going to be part of this. It's ugly and it's uncomfortable, but we deal with ugly and uncomfortable pretty well. So I'm looking forward to getting into that with you a little bit.
Yeah, agreed.
Lots of stuff. AOC had a nice parody account. Jane Fonda lost her fucking mind. By the way, climate
Again.
yeah, I'm not even going to get into that yet. We have a ton for you, but we got to start at what the foundation is of our show. Fitz, what are you drinking?
The beers. Well, this is my last beer. Unfortunately, I'm a little weepy over here. The good, the good kind of weepy, like out of your eyes, not out of my my 11th finger. Anyway, this is my out of my pee. My last beer that the Gray's Tap Room sent me, and I'm a little sad about it. Although it's been an amazing journey, they did not disappoint. Every single one of the beers they've sent me so far was amazing, and I'm expecting nothing less out of this one. This is the Goodwood. He said wood. This is the Goodwood. That's the name of the brewery, and this is just their stout aged in a bourbon barrel. Simple, easy, doesn't get much more clean cut than that. Stout aged in a bourbon barrel. So, it's 8.5, I believe, 8.5%.
It's a good starter.
Efforting. Why can't I find it? I found it earlier. 8%. 8. So let's wrap my lips around it and see what we got.
So this is another Louisville beer.
Oh, that's just solid. Oh, that's good. You know what? That is the perfect, absolutely perfect balance of boozy to beer. So a little bit of the booziness because it is barrel aged. You get a little oak in there from the barrels, but then the stout kicks in and it's just a really solid stout. Wow, that's a nice beer. Whew. Mike and Tabby for the win again. Wow.
Well, that's fantastic.
Yeah, clean finish too. Clean.
So when I think of just a straight up bourbon barrel aged stout, I'm thinking Dragon's Milk.
Uh-huh.
And would you say that it's on par with that one, or is it like in even the same ballpark at all, or what do you think?
No. Completely different family. Even though they're both in bourbon barrel aged stouts, I would put the Dragon's Milk more in that imperial category, so that's much more boozy. And man, Dragon's Milk, that's a solid beer. I'm glad you brought that one up. I don't get that one enough. I need to keep my eye out for some more of those. But that's much more boozy. This is just like I said, just the balance is perfect. This one is almost dangerous because you could throw back 3 or 4 of these, and then wow, those were all 8%ers, and now I can barely walk. But it's not. But there's still enough booze in there to remind you, hey, this one's gonna kick your ass if you're not careful. So, just really the balance. I'm not sure I've had a beer this balanced before.
That's awesome.
Very good.
That's fantastic. Well,
I'm very happy. It's a great way to start out.
Yeah, a great big thank you again to Gray's Tap Room Pod. You guys can follow them on Twitter. It is at Gray's Tap Room Pod. You also go to their Patreon, search up Gray's Tap Room, and definitely follow them. You guys can download them everywhere. You'll find us too. So Apple Pods, Spotify, Good Pods, anywhere where you like to get your podcasts, they'll definitely be on there. So neat show. So
yeah, and you know what,
to Mike and Tabby.
Yeah, and if ever you're listening to Whiskey Hell, and things we're just getting heavy because McShane and I do every once in a while. Just stop the episode of Whiskey Hell and go over to the Grace Tap Room, and because they're having fun. They're literally it's just two people having drinks at the end of a long damn week, and they're just having fun with one another. And so if we get too heavy, you just pop on over there, listen to them for a bit, and then you can finish Whiskey Hill tomorrow. They're a good time, solid stuff. So yeah, and thanks again, guys. I can't wait to do this again. Actually, the beer exchange was a huge hit this first round. Really got a chance to expose all of us to what my local breweries are, what yours are, what Louisville has to offer. It's just incredible. These are beers I would probably never get to have, and now I can say that I've had them. So just a really very fun venture, and let's make it happen again.
Love that. Love that. I am doing something a little bit different tonight. I had two different browns I wanted to try and get through tonight, and so I may actually have a third beer. The reason being is that they're really small beers. We're usually drinking 16 ounces, right? 20-ounce beers for each one of our beers usually, and this is a 12-ounce, and I know I'm going to blow through it, so I'm not even going to pretend. But I have two different types. I have the base Brown Bear. It's a honey nut brown ale from Roses by the Stairs. I think I had one of their beers last week. And then I also have their next one, Bear Loves Acorns. So I'll get into that one also. But this is their first brown ale, which is 6.5. And let me give it a run.
All right.
Virtually no nose. It's a brown, bitter, malty, dirty water.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm really interested to see what the difference is going to be in these two. This one has honey malt, biscuit malt, and chocolate wheat for flavors. Biscuits, light coffee, and light chocolate. I'm not real fond of the taste.
Is that a stretch? Yeah,
dude, it's very weird. It's like it's a brown beer that finishes like a pilsner.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It finishes like a Czech pilsner. You know how it's got that a Czech pilsner has that funky yeasty, bitter bite to it, but it's like a super clear. I think I might have signed up for something terrible tonight. We'll see. Because last week was disappointing too. And
I was gonna say you had a bad one last week. Yeah.
Well, in full disclosure, I was trying to do this Oso barley wine thing where I last week was Bananas Foster. The week before that, it was just the regular base hits from the bung. And the Bananas Foster completely turned me off to the barley wine. Completely. I hate this beer now.
Yeah.
Because I don't want to go, which sucks. I like the original, but I didn't even want to go out and I didn't want to have the other churro one. So I completely I fucking gave up on it. So I'm not doing that tonight. I'm totally reloading. So I apologize if anybody was waiting for that.
No, that's a huge lesson, actually. I was just going to kind of use this as I hate to say teaching moment, but this is like a really awesome moment that McShane and I have had several times in our beer tasting careers. Sometimes you think something's going to be a great idea, and then you get overloaded. You just have too much of it, and you need to switch gears. You need to try something new. So good for you for trying it. Let's just hope it ends up finishing better than it's starting here.
We'll see. It's definitely a brown, but I'm not real fond of where it's going right now. So Fitz, I don't know how we got on this. I think
somebody, who was it?
I think it was Moose Lounge. Moose Lounge tagged both us and I had to say it, Pod, Aaron.
Yeah, that's who I was thinking.
So he found an article, and the whole premise is that globes are misinformation against the Earth being flat.
Yeah.
So he wanted to get our take on it, which actually led to a poll that we also went and threw out there. I can't believe how this stays to be a thing. I really don't get it.
I mean, let me just say up front, sort of being the science nerd of the show, although you're very scientific as well, so I don't want to take any flame away from you, but flame, are you a flamer? I guess.
Well, it's Pride Month. We can all be flamers.
Oh, okay. All right. Excellent. I don't want to steal any of your light on that front either, because I know we geek out on science together. But as far as like space and Earth and all of that kind of stuff, climate, that seems to be my area that I gravitate towards. And so let me say up front, I am not a flat earther. I believe the Earth is. However, there is some weird shit out there, some weird things that people have done that don't make a whole lot of sense, or things that people have said where I'm like, actually, that's a really good point, and I don't know the answer to that. I'm not saying there isn't an answer, but I'm saying that I'll just say this: I have questions. Not that we're on a flat Earth, but for instance, I'm going to say this one thing, and then we can just go on to wherever you want to go. But the fact that the moon that the sun is exactly 400 times farther away than the moon, and the moon is exactly 400 times smaller than the sun, so that when we have an eclipse, it makes a perfect shadow on us. I mean, those kinds of things are. I mean, think about the coincidences that needed to happen. I mean, the chance of that is like, I don't know. I don't even know the math on that, but that's very, very crazy. And so there's just little things about our solar system, about our planet, about our physics, about gravity that don't always make a whole lot of sense. But I have personally flown from the East Coast of the United States to the West Coast of the United States as the sun was setting, a 5:30, 6 o'clock flight. And that sunset hours because I was chasing it. And I know I have witnessed the curvature of the Earth. I have seen it myself. So I'm definitely not a flat earther, but there are questions. And we do have a Hefe sighting.
Yeah. Hefe, given your history with flat earthers, what are your feelings on the subject?
I don't know.
LFA reporting
about it.
I was just gonna say, don't go chasing sunsets or waterfalls.
Oh, little TC.
Wow.
I love it.
TLC
Nice.
for you. No, I've never gotten that into it. I just don't. I mean, I don't believe in the flat Earth, and and some of the things they come up with that, ways they've sold us on a non-flat Earth. It's funny to me, but I think the Earth is round. What that one person said? How do you explain like the moon's not flat? Because it's clearly
Exactly. Every other planet in the solar system is a sphere. The sun is a sphere.
Yeah.
The moon's a sphere, but we're on a disc. Got it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Well,
Makes sense.
Let's throw it out to see. This is Candace Taylor, former governor or candidate for governor in 2022 in Georgia.
Doesn't make sense. So is it or not? I don't know 100%, but it's just, it doesn't make sense the other way. Now that you see
Candace,
it.
the people that defend the globe don't know anything about the globe, because if they knew a tenth of what Matt and I know about the globe, they would be flat earthers, because it's absolutely ridiculous.
I can't unsee this. All the globes everywhere. I turn on TV, there's globes in the background. There's globes on there right here. Like this would be a globe if I was a normal person. Like everywhere there's globes. You see them all the time. I mean, it's constant. My children will be like, Mama, globe, 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 globe. They're everywhere. And that's what they do to brainwash. And so for me, if it is not a conspiracy, if it is, real, why are you pushing so hard? Everywhere I go, every store, you buy a globe. There's globes everywhere, every movie, every TV show, news media. Why?
There you have it.
Wow.
That's the most bizarre argument that I've heard, though.
Agreed.
That's fascinating.
Agreed. And I so I have one of my ex kung fu students, and he moved away. He was a great student, and just a really super smart guy, almost too smart. You know what I mean? Like you're almost too smart for your own good, dude. But he and I got into it one night because he is absolutely a flat earther. He was going to prove it to me. And of course, we had a couple of shots of whiskey and a couple of beers, and so he was absolutely going to prove it to me. But one of the things that I told him is I said, if in this business, in this world, if you want to know the truth of something, follow the money, right? I mean, big business is never going to spend extra money when they don't need to. They're only going to want to make money. And so I said, take airlines, for example. I had a nonstop flight from Phoenix, Arizona to London, England, UK, and we flew over Greenland. Now, if you look at a flat Earth, that makes no sense. There's no way they would do a big giant curvature like that, because it would waste way too much fuel. But if you look at a globe, it makes perfect sense. And the reason why I know we went over Greenland is because I woke up, they on those long flights, they give you dinner and a couple of beers and you pass right out, and it's great. But I woke up, I had to take a piss. And when I got back to my seat, I looked out, and I mean, we were over the ice of Greenland. It was amazing. It was one of the most epic things. Clear night, moon was shining down on it. It was just absolutely unbelievable. And anyway, so that doesn't make sense. That flight doesn't make sense unless it's a globe.
Like I said, I've never heard this argument before, that it's a conspiracy because of all the globes.
There's globes everywhere.
Yeah,
and that's a podcaster. This is a good reason for not going to every podcast. This was Jesus, Guns, and Babies. That's the name of the podcast. So, sorry, Heffy, I cut you off there.
No, like her saying, why are they pushing the globes on us? Well, why would they? If it's really a flat Earth, why would we have to sell you on it being round? Who fucking cares?
Yeah.
There are a bunch of people making a lot of money lying about a flat Earth being round somehow.
I don't get it. I don't get it at all.
Yeah, and I mean, and even military applications, GLONASS and all of the military satellites that are up there, so that you can have precise GPS location anywhere on the planet. They wouldn't need to be 80 miles from the surface of the Earth or whatever they are,
right?
If it was flat, you could just throw up some really tall towers and be good. But it's round, so you can't see the other side. So you got to get them up high enough they can communicate with each other. And so, I mean, that's another. There's tons of things where I just go, okay, if it was flat, we wouldn't need about 80% of the technology that we rely on right now. We wouldn't. But there are some very unbelievable coincidences out there, and I do believe that there are questions worth asking about our reality, about time, space, the whole thing. I mean, it's actually really trippy when you get into it. But I think we have a consensus. We are on a globe, on a sphere. The Earth is round.
They're everywhere.
How's the night going, Hefe?
I made 300 on my first table, so that's good.
Woo!
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
You know,
Good for you.
that's exactly 300 more than I made on my first table.
Well, see what happened today is I had to do a little bit of running around, and I had one of my little ones with me at his mom's house, and everybody else was gone. And so they asked me to bring him to where they were on my way to work. And I said, oh, cool, that works. And so we did that, and it was a Chick-fil-A. So we went in there, and they were eating, and they asked if we wanted anything. And I was like, yeah, I got a little bit of time. So he and I got something to eat, sat down and ate, and we're hanging out. And then 4:55, and I said, all right, well, I got to get going. And I said my goodbyes to everybody and got in the car and started driving. Got about halfway to work and realized I didn't have my work uniform with me.
Oh,
Whoops.
jeez.
Uh-oh.
So I turned around and broke several laws getting back to the kid's house and grabbed my clothes. And
Allegedly.
Right.
FA is not admitting any guilt to any
No.
broken laws.
I'll beep that out.
Or otherwise. Okay.
And so I wasn't going to make it actually to work until about 10 after 6. So I had to call in and tell them I was going to be late. So instead of being here on time and drawing tables like everybody else, I just get assigned a table to where the next person going home is going to go. And that's the table I got assigned to. And I made $300. So that's the lesson for all the kids out there. Never be on time.
I was just going to say, I think you have a new strategy, FA.
Yeah. Yep.
Fashionably late.
Huh?
Fashionably late.
Exactly. Yeah.
Well, just to kind of wrap up our Flat Earth segment there, we did have a poll that was not quite unanimous, but 90.3% of our voters do believe that the Earth is round. And Fire Hunter, for the Earth to be flat, we'd have to deny some very simple truths. Gravity, for instance, gravity doesn't actually exist, but rather it's a concept used to describe the massive centrifugal force that holds everything to the ground. Also, every flat Earth myth has been busted.
Yeah, that's a big one too, because if we were, we've all been on one of those. Well, actually, not. Maybe some of our listeners aren't aware, but back when we were kids, there were these death machines called merry-go-rounds. And
yes, there were.
If you got on them, and you could stand in the middle while your friends just started spinning it as fast as they could, but as you get out from the center, it gets real fucking hard to hang on.
Oh yeah.
And many head injuries happened in our generation due to merry-go-rounds, both from the child trying to hang on and his feet sweeping out and kicking someone upside the head, and also the child just being thrown from the thing because of centrifugal force. And so that's another thing where if we were just this disc out there, I mean, people south of basically the North Pole would be constantly fighting gravity to try and walk one direction, to just stay in place. And the people out on the ends would be gone. See ya.
Jerry Zero, the reality is that neither myself nor anybody looking at this comment statistically have ever seen the curve with their own eyes. I would debate that. I've seen it while flying too.
I've been up. They say you can't really see the curvature. Yeah, exactly. They, from like 60,000, 70,000 feet, I think they say you can start to see the curvature. I'm fairly certain I saw it on that flight to the UK. So I don't know. Maybe I believed it so much I saw it, but I'm still not a flat earther.
I'm almost done with this beer. Sorry, go ahead, Hefe.
I think one of my ex's sisters is a pretty hardcore flat earther.
Yeah, I remember you called me one day and you were like, "Hey, what do you think about this?" And because we had that discussion one day, and there's just too many reasons that it's not flat. Yeah.
I've already moved on to that second beer.
Have you really?
Yeah.
Well, my first one was just a 12-ounce can, so I actually could absolutely go get my next beer. Which I this is nothing against the Gray's Tap Room and what they sent me at all. But this next beer that I have coming is it's special. Oh, it's special. So we'll see. Maybe I'll be very disappointed in it, but this was a really good start to the night, so it's going to be hard to beat.
So Hefe, this week was there any stories that really jumped out at you?
No, I was going to tell you guys about. I went to get my beers in the mail,
Yeah.
and my post office, it was a Postnet, closed down.
What?
Yeah, and the guy was in there packing shit up, and I went in. I know the guy. I've had that mailbox for, I don't know, 5 years. And I went in there. I was like, "Hey, what's going on?" He's like, "Oh, the owner of the building wanted me to sign a 5-year lease," and I said, "Fuck you."
Good for him.
He goes, "Then we were gonna sell, but my ex-wife, we can't get her to agree on a price, so I'm just closing it up." I was like, "Oh man!" So, the beers that were supposed to be there, I guess they got sent back to wherever.
No.
Whoa.
So maybe I got to put in the change of address, and maybe I don't know how they sent them, but maybe they're got sent back, or if it's through the post office, then they'll hold it and they'll forward it to my new address.
Well,
But yeah, that was kind of
I'll reach out to Gray's right now and see if we can get you a little bit more info about how it came. Because if that went back to like a UPS or something, then you'd totally be able to get it. USPS, how does that work, Fitz? You probably have to call in or go to the local station.
Yeah,
for it, right?
yeah, you'd have to go to the local sorting center.
I'll track them down if they're somewhere. But if they get sent back, then I'll give you my new address. You can forward it to them. So that was kind of a bummer. Yeah,
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
We'll get it figured out though. I know we will.
All right, I guess I'll go do some more dealing cards.
All right.
Yeah, let's have a couple more $300 tables. That's the vibes I'm sending out.
I like it.
At least one more. And maybe, Hefe, you're due. It's been a while since you had like a group of 3 or 4 hotties sit down at the table and give you the googly eyes. So that I'm hoping for that too. A $300 table, and then your next table will be, just 4 30-somethings that just all want Hefe.
Okay, I'll let you know how it goes.
Excellent.
Make it
40.
happen.
All right, man. Later.
All right. So, as promised, I am going to switch. You are by no means needing to go grab second beer if you don't want to, but I am diving into that next one, and this one I'm hoping is a little bit more interesting.
Can I ask you? Is it because the other one? I mean, you killed it and it just went down too fast, or you just kind of like fucked it, like you just drank it as fast as you could, or what?
It was closer to a hate fucking. Like I want you to leave. I'm gonna get off, and I want to go. The only thing I'm gonna get out of this is the ABV at this point. So let's just move on with it.
Yeah.
You remember what is it? SW Dundee's Honey Brown. Those guys. That's what that tasted like. Just not.
We were
not interesting.
We were very disappointed in that beer. It had no, what you said initially, it was dirty water. It wasn't.
Yeah.
There was no, it felt like there was no time or effort put into it. It just was like, here, let's throw a bunch of shit in a pot, boil it, and just see what happens.
Yeah. This one's the same way. It's just not good. I got a couple heavy hitters for the next half of the show. I'm going to leave it at that that was not fucking cool. Even this one, Bear Loves Bear Loves Unicorns. Bear Loves Acorns. Not whatever. Oh God, that's just sucks.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to hear that. Because you know what? Also, I mean, basically for me in like the pantheon of beers, it literally goes stouts, porters, browns. Like those are my favorite.
Yeah.
And so and I have been probably more than any other style of beer. I've been more disappointed in browns because I guess it's easy to fuck it up.
I guess
I wouldn't think it would be, but they find a way.
It's like dirty soapy water. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
dishwater,
God
and
damn
it happens sometimes. And I think
Sure.
there are some brewing techniques that achieve that. But for perfect example, I had one from Bonehouse that this week. That it was that same brewery that Hefe turned us on to from Fountain Hills.
Oh, right.
And they have a brown that I've had on tap now, and when I see it, I'm getting one. It's about 8.5, very smooth, rich flavors, a little malty, still a little bitter, but it has all of those neat features that come with a brown. And nothing that these have. Browns are usually, if they're good, they're a complex beer, but they're not
Right.
overdone, right? They're not like super high ABV. They're usually about 6%, 7%. They've got some really fun features to it. They smell good. It's rich. It's like earthy. Nah, this is just it's dishwater. There you go. That's it.
Yeah. Yep.
That's okay.
Unfortunate.
No, it's fine. It's ABV. That's what we're drinking for right now.
You know,
I got some heavy hitters. I'm happy about for later.
My next beer, I'm either going to, it's either going to be at the top of, it's going to make my top 5, or I'm going to be really disappointed in it. So I'm kind of setting myself up. I'm setting up everybody, I think, at this point. Our listeners are going to hear this. And again, like McShane mentioned in the beginning of the show, this is all, it's not live. You guys get a edited version when it comes out on Mondays, but our reactions are definitely in real time. So
yeah, absolutely.
you'll get to hear it real time and see what how this beer stacks up. I had an interesting experience. I'll tell that story later. We don't have to get to it right now. But I have a question. I think I'm going to wait for you and Hefe, or we'll wait for Hefe's second break. I have a question for you guys because it was a shower thought I had the other day, and I literally was in the shower and I thought, man, I need to bring this up on the show, and we'll get to it. So remind me.
Okay, shower thought. Write
Okay.
it down now.
Yep.
Hey, can we get into the shenanigans that the Supreme Court's got off on this week?
Yeah, let's please, because these were both, to me, these were both kind of shocking, I think you said it earlier this week. You said, it's hard to shock me days, but we were both shocked by both of these decisions that SCOTUS came up with.
So, in a gift to polluting industries, Supreme Court rolls back Clean Water Act protections. This is an Intercept article. You guys can go to the Intercept. Well, just go to our show notes and get it from there. But what ended up happening was the Supreme Court basically said that wetlands aren't going to be protected
from anything that happens upstream.
Yeah. So
like if you've
got a business, if you're a polluter and you're on we'll say you're on the Ohio, or no, let's go Mississippi, right? Because you've got all the wetlands that you have down in the Gulf. So the river is going to be protected, but any of the wetlands that come off of the river are not. So anything that you change in the wetlands, anything that you pollute, anything that you kill, fuck it. Doesn't matter.
I'm shocked. I'm not for big government. I don't think, you are either.
No.
Neither one of us want government in all of our affairs. But one of the things that the government should do, and one of their duties, is to protect us from ourselves. And this one, the Clean Water Act, is actually something I can get behind and really believe in, because if without these protections, then industries and sewage plants and everybody else can just dump whatever they want into the rivers. And then, as we know, these rivers are not just, pipes of water, they're ecosystems. So anything you put into the water becomes part of the plants, the animals, the fish, the birds, the trees. I mean, the bacteria that's growing on shores and the sands. It becomes a wider problem than just, well, yeah, okay, we dumped some motor oil there, but it just went downstream out into the ocean. No, it affects everything from the point of entry downstream. And I'm this is just one area where I would like government to be more involved. And SCOTUS was like, nope, we want nothing to do with this. You guys do your thing. We're going the way of big business. And that's yikes.
They're going away of big business, and they're also shitting all over anybody who uses those wetlands. Seafood?
Yes. Yep.
Anybody who hunts in the wetlands?
Yep.
That's big business. So you're just basically saying, you know what? We're going to go ahead and, like you said, side with big business and going to say it's okay. We're not going to worry about holding you responsible for any of the damage that you do there. And I have not seen, granted, there could have been others that we totally could have missed, but this one stuck out, and so did the next one, that anybody who is, well, let's see, this is a Vice article. Striking workers can be sued if their strikes damage the company. So the Supreme Court ruled in favor of companies here too.
Over unions.
Over unions, yes.
I'm again, if you take away our ability, I mean, we already know that speech is being censored. Because of we know why. Speech is being censored. Information is being filtered, which is almost worse. Only certain things are getting out to the public, and then now you're taking away our ability to unionize, or maybe not taking it away. I don't think this was a complete,
effective. It's the effectiveness that I think has been jeopardized.
Yeah, exactly. So this isn't like a sweep of the leg, but it's certainly a punch to the nose, and it's definitely going to blur the vision. And people who are in unions are going to think twice now when it's like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's go strike. And then but remember that Supreme Court decision that said that if we harm the company in any way, we're screwed. The company can sue our union, and then we're on the hook for it. And that is basically the biggest middle finger you could put up to the middle and working class, to all the blue collar workers out there, to all those Amazon workers who are trying to unionize and trying to get some better working conditions. If they cost Amazon a penny, Amazon can fire back at them. And that's scary. That's like third world fucking child labor shit.
So that absolutely was a concern, but this is where my head went. You remember last year when all the trucker strikes happened?
Yes.
And the truckers start going across the country?
Yes, I thought about that too. You
and
bet.
Across Canada and stuff like that.
Yep.
A lot of truckers are their own companies. And they contract out to other companies to pull their goods. This is really scary. That's almost, to me, that's very close to just unionizing the truckers And I could be missing something in there. There might be some legalese in there that totally makes that difference. So if anybody's listening and knows better, or you're a trucker, hit me with that. I would love to know how it impacts you. But that's where my head went with it. And that scares the hell out of me.
Should scare the hell out of all of us with what we just saw just a year and a half ago, how fragile our supply chain is, truly. I mean, one ship gets trapped in the Suez Canal and all hell breaks loose. And down to, up to, and including our truckers, because they're the final line in that equation, right? I mean, you could have everything go 100% correct until it gets to the truckers, and if they strike or if they decide to not do the route that they're asked to do, that's a really bad day in America. And I say all of America, all 50 states plus, DC. That's a big deal. It should concern all of us, all of you. And I don't know what to do about it. Like, that's the thing. This is a Supreme Court ruling for big business. And are we, so let's wider angle lens here. Are we paying the price of some really conservative justices being appointed
I think we finally are. I think we finally are. Think about what that does to the train workers.
Yes. Oh God. Right.
Right. I this week for Supreme Court, this was the most, for me anyway, the most blatantly conservative business rulings that, and let's call it what it is. It's straight up legislation from the bench.
Wow.
That's what it is.
There it is. You're right. 100%.
And that's why the Supreme Court got loaded the way it did.
Now, McShane, are you saying that we don't really have 3 branches of government anymore? That it's just 2, maybe just 1?
we need a really good sounder for when we've got our overly sarcastic point of the week. And I think you had it, and I had one last week that was like that. We just need to go ahead and do that. But yeah, you're exactly right. Yeah, it's it's all a bunch of bullshit.
God, it's really hard to I saw a tweet. I should have sent it to you guys. It was one of those where it was late at night, and it was last night, Friday night. It was late at night. It had been a long week. We've had a bunch of just shit stories coming down. So when I saw this tweet, I thought about sending it to you guys, but then I was like, no, it's just more depression, right? On top of all the gloom and doom that we put up with. It was just more. So I was like, I'm not going to send it. Basically broke down this person, and I want to say it was Cat Turd, which is a great follow. If you're not following Cat Turd, please get out there and do so. But he broke down. I mean, he just went down the list. Economy, war in Ukraine, the false numbers that administration's putting out. He just, like, there was like 15 items on this thing of shit that any one of which would really be concerning. And they're all happening kind of right now. And I know we've been in this for a while, right. Since 2020, since COVID hit, we've all been like, oh my God, the world's ending. And really it's not. We're all still here. Things are still going. But it's still, to see it all put out in a tweet like that I was just like, oh, fuck. There's a lot going on. And you have to have a narrow bandwidth, because to take it all in, your mind would.
I can't believe that we actually have a influencer that does some really good work, and we're following somebody with the name Cat Turd. Yeah,
right.
But he really does make some really fantastic points. He really does. So that is a really good follow.
He's great. He's great. And on just relating to a story we're going to get to here in the second half of the show, but the AOC mock account, the AOC press account, Cat
Okay.
Turd was actually very seriously thinking about taking it over. And then he wrote an article saying why he decided not to.
Because
And
there were
it was very
massive
telling.
death threats.
Yes, that's exactly why. He said, I on Cat Turd, I can say things and I'm okay, but for some reason when it comes to AOC, she's got the death squad out there. And people, I mean, so this person who set up, just to, I guess we'll break it down. Let's do it. This person set up and they titled it, what is her name?
AOC Press.
Yes, but the full title made it so long that you couldn't see that it was a parody account.
Right.
They actually in the title put parody, but you couldn't see that because it was so long. So when you pull it up on your phone, all you saw was, Cortez or Ortez. What the hell's her name? Damn it! Now she's just AOC. Ortega Cortez or I don't know. KCO. I don't know, dude.
It's it's Alexandria.
Thank you.
Ocasio.
Ocasio-Cortez. All right.
Yeah.
So it was Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez Press, and it was a parody account. It said that in parentheses, but you couldn't read that. So people were actually thinking she was saying these things, and oh my God, it was amazing. It was just really funny stuff. Well, AOC found out about it. Then she tweets, hey, there's a fake account going around. It's gone viral. It's not me. Please don't believe that what this person's saying. I'm trying to sort it out. Next thing you know, this account gets banned on Twitter. It's just out. And then everyone's tweeting Elon saying, what the fuck, man? This is supposed to be a free speech area. What's going on? So then he's like, hold my beer, be right back. And then boom, the account was reinstated. And this all happened, what was it, like Wednesday or Thursday, McShane?
Yeah, it was something like that. It was like Tuesday or Wednesday.
Yeah, and so bam, the account gets reinstated, and there's some really golden stuff just flowing out. And then all of a sudden, Thursday night, I believe, there's just the water hose gets turned off. And everyone's like, what's going on? And then all of a sudden you see a couple of tweets from Cat Turd and someone else, I don't remember who it was, basically said that AOC Press account, the fake one, the parody account, they took it down. The person who started it took it down because they were getting so many death threats.
Yep.
And they were concerned for their safety, for their family. It's a fucking joke, dude. It's a joke.
And it wouldn't have been bad if she hadn't have actually acknowledged it. That was all on her.
Exactly.
It was all on her. And I thought it was just stupid fun. They're talking about AOC wanting, Elon to be her boyfriend and banging on Mars. I mean, it was so absurd. Right. It was just hilarious. I mean, it was just really, it was comedy. But because you can't say anything to the left and have it be comedic, they get butthurt, and then we end up with this. So yeah, whoever this was, you were a fucking genius. It was hilarious. I hope you're proud of the 3 days that you had. And I'm sorry for everybody who who complained, sent death threats. You're all a bunch of fucking pussies. That's really what it comes down to.
Amen.
It was goddamn funny, and that was a great 3 days.
Oh, it was comedy gold, and it was just, and it was like every time I would open up Twitter, there'd be like 2 or 3 from that person, and they were great.
Yeah,
it
was
I
cute.
guess
it was stupid. It was fun.
Yep.
We can't have nice things.
We just can't take a joke anymore. No, we can't take a joke anymore because a joke could lead to something serious. Well, here we are, that you not liking the joke is leading to something serious, like, oh, I don't know, death threats, like, oh, I don't know, bomb threats to Target because they won't put up the LGBTQ. I mean, you're so worried about things going too far, and yet it's the far left that's taking it too far. They're the ones showing their true mental illness. And I'm not saying everybody on the left has a mental illness. What I'm saying is on the extremes of either the left or the right, that's a mental illness. You actually have something wrong with you when you cannot take yourself out of your own shoes and put yourself into someone else's shoes, or at least see the other side.
Well, you're
without
detached
hating
from
it.
reality, right?
Exactly. That's the mental
straight up
illness.
detachment from reality.
Yep.
You're so involved with your psychosis that you have to inflict it on everybody else. Speaking of psychosis, Jane Fonda blamed men and racism, blamed men for racism and climate change this week. This is not a joke. This absolutely happened. This is serious, she said Saturday. We've got about 7-8 years to cut ourselves in half of what we use of fossil fuels. And unfortunately, the people that have the least responsibility for it are hit the hardest. Global South people on islands, poor people of color. It is a tragedy that we have to absolutely stop. We have to arrest and jail those men. They're all men behind this. Thanks, Jane. You fucking weirdo.
Yeah. Yep. And let's okay. So here was my thought. There was such a push, started in the 80s. You know, we were all alive when this started to happen. There was such a push.
Yep.
To get women to break the glass ceiling, right? To become CEOs. And now I think like 30% of Fortune 500 companies they have female CEOs. So, but none of them are part of this climate problem. None of them. It's only the men. It's only the guys who got us here. It's not all the women who consume all these things, drive their own cars, drive their minivans, fly on airplanes. It's not Taylor Swift's fault for flying a private jet. No, it's definitely Justin Timberlake's fault for flying a private jet. But it's not Taylor Swift's. I mean, it's absurd. There are more women than men on this planet. If anyone's to blame, it's all the fucking women. How about we just turn it around? How about that? How about we say there's too many women?
There's too many women having boys.
Yeah, right. Yeah, your fault, ladies.
It's good for us all to realize there would be no climate crisis if there was no racism. There would be no climate crisis if there was no patriarchy. A mindset that sees things in a hierarchical way. White men are the things that matter, and then everything else is at the bottom.
Fuck you, Jane.
You know what?
Fuck you.
Jane doesn't fucking matter anymore.
No, she doesn't. She's obscene. She's absurd. And she's not relevant. And yet they keep, well, but look at where she's making these statements. I mean, she was on The View when she said her last dumb thing, that Trump needed to be blown up or killed or something. And then now here she is at some award show saying this. And the problem is that all those hippies and all those people that grew up in the 70s and 80s, they all, I mean, I used to love Jane Fonda. She was a woman of her time. Yes, yeah. Great actress and a woman of her time. I had a crush on her daughter for a long time. But now it's time to just not give her the public space, not give her the space in the room to say these ridiculous things. We all need to laugh at her, ignore her, so she can go and just be a person who's not in the public spotlight anymore, because you don't have anything valid to say. What you're saying is wrong and stupid.
I think, and God, you know, and we want everybody to have a voice, and truly we have to put up with stupid shit like this. But this is so, she's 85. I'm going to be ageist for a second. She's 85, completely out of touch, and she's really struggling to be relevant. That's the only place that this comes from. And she knows this is going to be as inflammatory as a fuck. Or she has dementia and she truly believes this. One of the two.
Yeah.
Either case,
let's
like you said, let's stop giving her an extra 15 minutes. It's just,
that's it.
Just it's not constructive.
Yeah, I mean that's totally it. You're right. I need to acknowledge everybody has a voice, but when you stand up and say something, or do something, your behavior. I mean, how come McShane? How can we? I mean, everybody farts, right? Everybody farts.
Yep.
Everybody takes a shit.
Yep.
How come
True.
we don't do those things out in public, like on the street? Like, oh, there's a water drain right there. I bet if I just shit right there, right on Broadway Street, I'll just shit in there, and then the next time it rains, wash it down, and everything's good.
Well,
How come we don't
that's
do that?
so. Well, they do that in San Francisco and New York.
Well, that's true. It's we don't do it. Not normal, typical
Everyday folks.
people, yeah, everyday folks. We've learned through society there's certain things that you do and say out in public, and then there's certain things that you don't. There's a time to stand up and be counted for what you believe in, and then there's a time to just say, actually, I should probably reevaluate what I'm saying because it kind of sounds insane. And I guess we've gone so far one way that it's the insanity that we're listening to, and not the common sense everyday folks that are trying to stand up and just say, "Hey, I have these rights. I need to be recognized for them." We've lost that.
Do you think we're actually to the point where we're just so tired of it that we don't care? We want to be left alone. We're so wrapped up in just trying to make it through each fucking day that we don't have time to sit here and say something that's objective to something that Jane Fonda says.
I do. I think it's really easy to become complacent right now. It's really easy to become detached because if you are attached to what's happening, it all feels insane.
That's very well said. Well, I'm glad we haven't become detached. I'm glad we're still saying what we feel we need to say, and we're still calling attention to bullshit like this because it is truly fucking ridiculous. And we will do that every week for you as often as possible.
Yep. And you know what? Even if we only have one listener still tuning in every week,
that's right.
We're still going to keep doing the show then, because that means there's one other person out there who thinks what we have to say is relevant, and so we'll keep doing it. I know there's way more of you out there that would just never, you wouldn't abandon us that way, but still, even if one person's out there, that's enough. And right now we all need to look around to our friends, our neighbors, the neighbors' kids, our nieces and nephews, family members. If you're seeing some behaviors, speech, things that are not common sense, that are ridiculous in their nature, we all need to start having the courage to call it out. And you don't need to be a dick about it either. You can just say, okay, so you think the earth is flat. Please help me understand that.
Yeah.
Or you think that, the 0.4% of the population that is transgendered should dictate all of the rest of us and our policies and laws around bathrooms. Please help me understand that. I would like to know where does your thinking come from? You don't have to be a dick, but we need to have this dialogue. We need to start talking to one another and listening to one another, because my God, if things like this can be said by, Joe Schmo, Jane Fonda, whoever, and people are just like nodding, yep, that sounds about right, it's all the guy's fault. We think about what happens in 5 years when this all gets worse.
Yeah.
So we need to start having the conversations now, people. Now.
You want to switch up beers?
I do. I'm so eager for this next beer. I'm just, I'm eager even just for the name of the fucking beer, let alone what it's going to taste like. So yeah, I'm excited. So yeah, let's get to it. Great first half of the show. We got some really good stuff for you guys in the next half, but yeah, let's do it.
All right. Beer 2 is coming up. I'm binge drinking tonight. We'll see you guys in a few.
Woohoo!
All right. So great first half of the show. Good conversation. Shit beer for me. But my drinking shoes are on. And you know what? Some of it, oh my God. Oh shit! I can smell this beer, and my nose isn't near. It's not even poured yet. Holy! Oh, I'm so excited. You know,
Okay, yeah, that's a good sign that you're excited.
just let's listen to it. Ooh. So
Ooh.
I'm in one of those moods, Fitz, where I'm completely unfulfilled. And that maybe that had something to do with those beers. I may be giving myself too much credit for being involved in that process, and that the beer was actually just those two beers were just fucking terrible.
Sure.
But I do have a little bit of an attitude, and I acknowledge that, and I try to be self-aware. But I'm hoping this beer fulfills me. This is a Cerebral Brewing. This is called Trophy Hunt. Never had this before. I've had Cerebral before, which those are great beers. This is a barrel-aged imperial stout with cocoa and vanilla. This is just straight up. This is what we're doing. 12.5%. Yep. Bottled on 3/23. Aged 25 months in 15-year Woodford Reserve barrels, or bourbon barrels, conditioned on a blend of Filipino and Ghanaian cocoa nibs, along with Peruvian and Comoros vanilla beans.
Holy shit. See,
And I can't tell you how much it smells great.
You hear something like that, you read something like that, and you go, okay, somebody gave a shit when they made this beer. Someone put their blood, sweat, and tears into this beer.
Oh, Instaboner. Oh. Oh.
So it's good.
Oh, this is good. That makes everything all better. This is a warm blanket on a cold night. This is flipping over the pillow, getting the cold side right before you're about to go to sleep.
Love it.
Oh my God.
Love it.
You can taste the barrels, you can taste the wood, the oak finish. The mouth feel it lets you know it's there, and it's not boozy. It's a sipper, but it's just, oh shit, that's a fucking beer. Oh, I'm gonna try and find the site. What do you have for beer too?
Dude, you were due a win, so I'm glad you got a win on that one.
Thank you.
Well, so okay, little story behind this one. So and you kind of know part of the story. But I'll tell the whole story because I think it's well, not I think. It's definitely worth telling. So gosh, I think I mentioned it 5 shows ago that I had a hookup at the local beverage distributor around here. And
yes,
every
you do.
Friday they do, they sell stuff off that they just couldn't sell otherwise. It's already been paid for, so they really don't have to sell it for much of a profit, but it's taking up space on their shelves. So I haven't been for so long because I bought so many cases. You get a case, which is 24 beers. You get a case for $12. And so I went crazy my first time. I'm like, fuck it. I've got $100 cash. Let's see what that can buy me. And so I'm finally running low on beer. So we went back on Friday, and I'm hunting around, looking for stuff. It was pretty slim pickings. I went a little bit later than I should have, and so it was pretty picked over. But I found a few items here and there that were okay. And then I noticed a couple of boxes sitting off to the side. And they were from Pelican Brewing, which is, of course, one of my favorite brewers here in Oregon.
Yep, fantastic.
And so you went out there, you saw the setting and also had the beers. They're solid all the way around.
Yep.
So I go over, I check out these 2 boxes, and they are both boxes of a beer called Captain of the Coast, which I'm going to review on the show next week. So be ready for that one. But they were the big bomber bottles, 12 of them, and they were $30 a box for 12 of them.
And that's normally like an $18, $20 beer, right?
Oh, yeah. Each one is usually $18, $20.
Fuck. Okay.
So no, it gets better. Okay, so I go up to the guy and I say, I'm gonna get both of these. And he goes, you know what, dude, you know your shit. He goes, those have been sitting there all day. How about I give both of those to you for $40. I'm like, I almost cried. I was like, what? Really? So then other guys
Wow.
that are kind of milling around, they're like, "Oh, what do you got? What's that? Oh, shit! You know what? How can I trade you for one of these? And can I trade you for one of those?" And so all of a sudden, all of these high top end beers start getting traded that I'm sure they paid. I mean, one dude ran out to his car to go get these high end beers that he had. He
No
wanted to trade me a
way.
couple. Yeah. So we're trading high end stuff. I paid $40 for 24 of these things. They probably paid $20 for each of theirs. I made out like a fucking bandit.
Dude, that's
Anyway.
fantastic.
Oh, it
Good
was
for
just
you.
I mean, talk about a boner, dude. So anyway, I had to share the story because it's kind of one of those once in a lifetime deals. Anyway, so I got a ton of Captain of the Coast on top of the fact that I traded 4 different beers I have that I got out of that. So one of them I'm having tonight.
Okay.
I've had this beer before, but let me read the kind of the intro to this beer, because this is one of those that they specially batch every year, and every year it's a little bit different. Okay. This is from Fort George Brewing. They're up in Washington. And this is their matryoshka, which the matryoshkas are the little nesting dolls in Russia.
Right.
And so their little intro here is, which I love, much like the wooden nesting dolls, the Matryoshka series releases in many different variations, each one more intricate than the last. So every single one of these iterations are going to be different. This one is a barrel-aged imperial stout with Mexican vanilla bean, coconut, and lime leaf. So it is a 12.2%er. So both McShane and I are going heavy in the second half of the show here. And again, this is going to send me to heaven, or I'm going to weep because it disappointed me so much. So anyway, let's have a sip.
So yeah, they change it up from year to year. Again, that's fortgeorgebrewery.com. So you guys can go there and check it out. It's Matryoshka, Matryoshka. Which year is that one? Is it 20,
I'm looking
21,
now.
2022?
This is the 22.
Oh, okay.
Oh
so
my fucking God, dude.
So that's been barreled for a while. It's been sitting for over a year.
Oh my God. All right. Chocolate, coconut, and then you get a little zing on the end. And it's not a lime. It's not a sour zing. It's more of just a citrus lightness, if that makes sense.
Really? And this is an imperial stout?
This is an imperial stout, 12.2%er.
Huh,
okay. Oh my God. This is I'm gonna, you know what? This one I might have to check in a couple of times as we kind of are talking about the news, because I think this one's gonna open up and new shit's gonna appear. Because I'm getting some chocolates, I'm getting some raisin, I'm getting obviously the vanilla, the coconut for sure. My God. This wow. All right, I'm happy. I'm just gonna say it. I'm happy. I'm gonna make sweet love for the next hour and a half here.
Get in there real deep.
Believe me.
So one of the things, Fitz is a fan. He has connections. So whenever he can do that, he's definitely fantastic job, man. I mean, back when I was doing growler radio and stuff like that, I kind of felt like I had those connections too. So I'm glad you're getting to do that and get those experiences. That's fucking cool.
Yeah, man, me too. It really is cool. I'm just very happy. Like I said, we have a Hefe sighting, second Hefe sighting of the evening. How's it going, man?
Good. I'm out here in the by the docks, truck docks, and a fire truck and ambulance pulled up.
Awesome. All right.
It's because our show is so hot.
I think so. I think that's it.
Don't be surprised if you get hosed down, man.
Well, wouldn't be the first time.
Or you hose them down. That's how you roll.
Yeah.
There you go. Hey, this is for all of our female listeners out there. Are there any hot firemen?
I'm the wrong person to ask. I
All
don't
right.
dig
Are they in uniform, big, and with a mustache?
I don't see any mustaches or mustache eye.
Mustache. Yeah.
But they're going in the back door. Hello.
Hello.
So
As
My
they
kind of fireman.
should. All right.
it must be an employee that's bringing in a stretcher. What the fuck? Maybe it's for me.
He's so
We're
on
gonna
fire.
flatline. Take me away, guys. No, yeah, something's going down. Oh, there's one with a mustache.
Well, that's not.
We got one
All
mustache.
right. There we go. Called it.
You know, I'm not gonna lie
Firemen
to you
and
guys.
cops, man.
I do find women firefighters pretty hot.
Oh, me
I thought you
too.
were
Because
gonna say mustaches.
they're in shape,
Minus the
dude.
mustaches. Yeah.
Yeah, they're just in good shape. One of my ex kung fu students, again, she had to move, but she was a EMT, so she was volunteering on the fire department, but she was an EMT by trade, and she was just in such great shape. My God, it's just yeah, fun stuff. So you know, there's listen, when someone works that hard to stay in shape, to be in shape, to be physically fit, it is a-okay to admire them for it, male or female.
And they're doing it to save people. There's an altruism that goes along with it,
Yeah,
which is
Yep.
really fucking cool.
Yeah, that
I appreciate
that
them.
is so not. That's not why I work out at all. And so the fact that
No.
they do, that's awesome. Good for them.
You know what? My second beer here is going to be for them. This is for the firefighters
Cheers.
in the world.
Yeah, cheers to the firefighters, the EMTs, the cops, our civil protectants.
All right, there you go. I like that.
I kind of
Civil
feel like
protectants.
hijacking the fire truck and driving her away.
Why
Dude,
don't you?
I would pay you $1 million to do that right now. That would be
You-
the best live podcast ever.
Can you Zell me it right now? Bullshitting.
Yeah, it's on the way, man. It'll be there.
Yep. Just keep
Real
the line
soon.
open.
Yeah, just go get the fire truck. It'll be there.
Those electronic payments take a while to travel over different states. Now.
Well, yeah, they got to count all the zeros and stuff. So just go get the
Okay.
fire truck.
You know
Okay,
what?
I'm going.
Maybe just hang out by the door and just say, "Hey, can I drive?" And just see what they say.
Hey, fellas. Yeah, just turn on your Pride Month. Just be like, hey, fellas, you guys need an extra passenger? I'll ride in the back.
I'd like to ride on your boom truck.
Oh boy,
Hey, watch me extend this ladder. Hey-o.
you know.
Show me your hose.
Mhm.
Hey, Fitz, you had a question that you wanted to raise with Hefe and I. What was that?
I did. So, Hefe, I don't know if you ever had Mr. Shore for history in high school. Did you ever have Mr. Shore?
I remember his son was in our class, but I don't
Yeah.
know if I had him as a teacher.
Okay. Well, Mr. Shore did probably one of the most, I mean, I'm 48 people. So this was 30 years ago and I still remember this day. Okay. We all came in, Mr. Shore passed around and he said, "You know what? We're going to take it easy today. We're going to just chill here." And he passed around a bowl of candy. There were Hershey Kisses and there was Reese's peanut butter cups and just all kinds of different chocolate. And you're all like, whoa, cool. I mean, people were taking 3 and 4. And so anyway, he gets the bowl back. It gets back to the front of the room and everybody has their chocolate and we're all peeling them and eating them. And he's like, today we're going to talk about the FDA, the Food and Drug Administration.
My God.
And where it started and why. And we're all like, okay, cool. Chowing down on this chocolate. And he said, all of us literally have like chipmunk cheeks full of chocolate, right? And he says, do you guys know how many bug parts are allowed per 1 ounce of chocolate?
Oh,
And we all just kind of like slowly stopped chewing. Like, what did he just say? And it's I don't remember the exact numbers, but it's like 5 or 6 spider legs, a fly wing, human hair is allowed in chocolate. And there's all these. I mean, the Food and Drug Administration is there for certain safety things, but they allow a certain amount of these things that you find disgusting in chocolate or in cereal. I mean, if you ever left a box of cereal alone too long, you know that there's bug eggs in it because something sure as fuck hatches. So here's my question to you guys. What do you think are the allowable parts per million or parts per gallon of bug parts per beer? Because you know there's bugs flying around in those breweries. A lot of them are open air. I've been to them. I know they boil it. But how many bug parts do you think?
Oh, I have no idea. I'm sure there's got to be some kind of an acceptable limit, but oh god, I don't know.
I mean, I guess my point is it's never zero.
Right.
I mean, it's
well, I've never had, a piece of chocolate or something and then been like, oh, what the hell? And I have a fly wing or a spider leg. So it's not really bothering me. Right.
Right. I mean, what you don't know can't hurt you kind of thing. I get that.
Right.
I'm just, if you really stop to think about these things. And again, that was Mr. Shore's point, was that he, like, hey, you're eating these things every day, but there's stuff in it that you probably wouldn't want in it. That whole thing about be careful, whose house you go over to eat at, because you don't know how clean they are. But really, I mean, I have a dog and 2 cats. You don't think I eat probably a pound of pet hair every week?
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
It just happens. It's around the house. It's flying around. It's so anyway, I mean, if you guys had never stopped to think about that, I would like you to from now on.
Okay. Huh.
I don't know where you go with that, McShane. I had to ask it.
That's okay. I think that was a great segue to something. I'm not sure where we're going to go from there, but that's okay.
I didn't mean to kill the
No,
momentum.
you actually, no, you totally didn't. But one of the things that I was trying to find was there was a story this week about a teacher who was in class, and I cannot find it now. And she was talking about how to have anal sex.
Yes.
Oh,
yep.
And why sex is, why it's pleasurable and all that.
Yeah.
Right.
Why,
right. And
how gay guys get off, basically.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was about. And sorry, that was your bridge from teachers. What was the most awkward thing that you guys ever talked about? I mean, that had to have been really awkward.
Oh,
but I couldn't imagine this.
If I remember correctly, one girl that was in class, and she shall remain unnamed, but Hefe, I'll tell you later because you'll know exactly who she is. She got up and spit her mouthful of chocolate out in the trash. I mean, it disgusted her so much, but that was definitely memorable. I remember having a heated debate, like almost coming to blows. I was in psychology, and we somehow got on the subject of abortion, and we weren't talking about it for abortion's sake, but more like the psychology of your beliefs and why you believe a certain way, but other people can believe another way, even though they're just as intelligent or more intelligent than you are. But we got into it, and I got into it with a again, Hefe, I don't want to mention any names, but a lady that I had a huge crush on. And I remember thinking, this girl is so hot, so beautiful. She has no business. She never even said my name once in high school. And here I am. She's standing up shouting at me from across the room. And I'm engaging her in conversation. So I milked that conversation as long as I could keep it going. I just said shit that I didn't even believe just to keep her mad because she was talking at me. And it was awesome. So that was one of my most memorable moments. That and when Waco, Texas was happening, we had a debate about that because we were in high school when that happened, and we got to watch it live, and it was fucked up. And so the teacher had the presence of mind to say, do you think it's okay for the government to come in and tell these people they can't do what they want to do on their private property? So that was huge too. What about you guys?
Let's see. Challenger explosion was probably
Yeah.
one of my biggest.
Yep.
Sex ed was always weird. Yeah. Oh, I have that clip. You guys want me to play it?
Which one?
Yeah.
Here is where the prostate
Oh,
is.
yeah. The
So
teacher.
you don't have to go inside the booty hole. You can actually just push on the seam, and that stimulates the prostate gland as well. And that they apparently really like that. But yeah, so that's why for male and male, anal sex is still very pleasurable because of the fact that it hits the prostate, and there's a lot of nerve endings in your booty as well. So the girls, the G-spot, prostate, they're the equivalent to each other, but apparently that's why if you ever see Target has them now, sex toys. If you go to Target, seriously, if you go to Target and go where the tampons and pads are, they just look like a little box, but if you open up, there's like a Velcro front to the box, you open it up, and then bam, sex toy. And you'll see them, CVS, yes, CVS has them too, a lot of them. And so that's why when you look at the toys, a lot of them look like this. And the reason because is for finding that spot. Here is where the prostate is. So
I want to take a teacher out for a drink.
Oh, she'd be into whatever after like a half a beer.
I mean, okay, yeah, you're not wrong. I don't know that our kids need to know that fingering a butthole is pleasurable.
Or I guess I guess they don't need to know why. I mean, if you've played with your own butthole or whatever, like you're gonna know. Like if it feels good to me, probably it's gonna feel good to someone else. But you don't need to know. I don't know. That just seemed. And why did she keep calling it the booty? I mean, was she embarrassed, or was that in the curriculum that they had to say that word?
You're talking about the perineum, right? You're talking about pleasure spots, and you can't say butt or buttocks, anus.
Yeah, anus. It's called anal sex. The whole thing is cringeworthy, especially. You got these kids. I don't know, dude. It's just a different world than when we grew up. Because there's no way that conversation would have been had when we were in high school. No way.
No, but didn't you already know though? Like everything that they're covering there, you probably had a really good. Okay, this is why it feels good to me. This is why I want to stick it in her or him or whoever.
Yeah.
Right? You knew.
Yeah.
So you didn't need the specifics. You didn't need to know I can go buy sex toys from Target.
Right. I mean, the lion out on the savannah, or he knows, like when he gets hard, he knows what to do with it. Like, okay, that's a stick. It goes in a hole. Let's do this.
And how many
don't need
times did you
sex
talk
ed.
about this in the locker room? Right?
Exactly.
Or when you're just watching a movie,
Dude, correct me if I'm wrong, Hefe, but I'm pretty sure that was 80 to 90% of our entire conversation was what it was going to feel like when we actually got it in a woman.
Yeah, because we hadn't been there yet.
No. And then after we did, it's still all we talked about. How am I going to get that to happen again? You want to say guys are easy? Guys are easy. That's really what we think about all the time.
Yep.
All right. I didn't mean to cut you off. Did you have a really awkward school moment, Hefe?
Oh, I just remember the Challenger, like you talked about, when I got on the bus, the bus driver was crying a lot, and I wasn't really sure why. But that was in Florida, so I was, kind of close to.
Oh yeah, Cape Canaveral
yeah.
and all that. Yeah.
But I got to run back in now.
All right, man.
All right. Remember, sex toys are at Target.
Okay.
And CVS.
All right. See ya.
Later.
Hey, let's get Hunter Biden's laptop out of the way.
Yeah, let's fire off some fast fire stuff here.
All right, so BidenLaptopMedia.com. If you guys want to go check it out, you certainly can. It's going to be in show notes. It's filthy as fuck. And it's not that. First of all, here's the thing that I don't. After going on the site, which they block everything out, so there's no.
Right, it's not porn.
Well, I'm just going to show you. First of all, as you can see, we've got the very first photos on the laptop are all kinds of headshots of his dad, which is great. And then we've got this
and his mom. His mom was in a few of them.
Yep.
Yeah, and then he went to the dentist. He cracked a tooth or something.
Yep, and
all
then
that
you can see
fucking meth he's been doing.
His methed out mouth. So we've
Good
got
God.
that on there. And then there's tons and tons of headshots of him. But then you get picture, and this is the gross part, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
because we've all taken dick pics. We've all taken pictures for certain someones or, whoever. It doesn't matter. We've all done weird shit like that.
We've all traded video data of each other.
Yeah. We don't keep it, though. I don't think.
I don't.
I think we typically get rid of it. And we definitely... So that shit is all over the place. And they went through and they put a little coloring over everything, every genital that you'd see. And there's nothing. I mean, this guy took pictures of every chick he banged.
Oh, yeah. Every single girl he ever met, he took pictures. Saved them.
He completely did. He completely did. And if you're just looking at it for that, you'd say his body count, he's living his best life.
Yep.
But then you throw in weird shit like this. That's his niece.
Yeah.
Okay, she's fully clothed, but she's sucking on her finger.
Yeah, and it actually gets worse from there, from what I understand.
There's a lot of stuff out here that's really fucking questionable. There's a ton of him with hookers. We're making an assumption they're hookers. There's him naked all over the place. There's him getting blown. There's random pictures of
ass
and his driver's license and all. I mean, it's like weird. Like what the fuck are you? Why would you even?
And he's
put this stuff on your laptop.
He's got screenshots of text conversations he's having as well.
Oh yeah.
Which almost leads me to believe that he was either two reasons guys take screenshots of their text messages. Well, three reasons. One, they're fucking with someone and they want to share it with their buddies because it's funny. Right. Two, they've got this girl on the line that's like some sort of conquest and they want to again show off to their buddies. Or three, they're trying to CYA. I better take a picture of this conversation because if things go south, I need to have proof that this actually happened.
Right.
And he's got tons of them all over, and some of them are CYA.
Oh, yeah. Clearly it's CYA, and then you've got random maps and shit.
Yeah,
there's tons of young girls on here.
Yeah.
I mean,
too young.
Too young. Well, it's the perception, right? Because there wasn't anything on here that, and I didn't spend a ton of time because I honestly got grossed out right and there, I had to go.
His niece is in a bikini, and
it's the perception.
They're lewd pictures. I mean, they're not like pictures of her just hanging out with the fam.
Well, it's not stuff that an uncle would have on his phone.
Shouldn't have. Yeah. I'm not even an uncle, and I'm offended.
It was just fucking weird. I mean,
yeah.
See, and oh god. Anyway, you guys can go out and look at it. I don't want to spend a lot of time on it. A couple of things came to mind though, and I'm gonna light up my search history like it's gonna fucking matter here, but I'm gonna get rid of that. But what an incredible way to get data on people than to throw out a bidenlaptopmedia.com link
Yeah.
to see who all logs into this site to look at it.
Yeah, I don't know how much influence Matt Walsh had into the releasing of this. He certainly was out front on Twitter promoting it.
Right.
And so I don't know if this is his website that he put up or what, but yeah, you really don't know. Is this a credible source, or is this just clickbait to get you to go in there and then they're like, oh, there's a sicko. There's a conspiracy theorist.
Exactly.
There's
Exactly.
somebody who wants to be have their mailbox marked with a piece of chalk. I don't know. And I mean, at this point, like you said, it doesn't fucking matter. My mailbox has already had a mark on it for years. As soon as I called bullshit on COVID, I'm sure I have a mark somewhere, and I'm okay with it because it's worth standing up for what you believe in, like we were talking about earlier. But it's a very interesting thought that they put this out there just to see who else they could tag, who else they could, put an ear tag on and track them.
So here's something interesting. If you go to the site marcopolousa.org, now they say it's /support, but they miswrote the actual link in the bio or on the page that actually links out to the support site. So you have to go in and do marcopolousa.org /support to get to the right directory. So I'm on that now. And this is the page. Budget for the Hunter Biden laptop. We've got this strange PDF that's out there. Every law enforcement agency at the federal level of the United States. Now, we're just finding this now. I didn't figure this out until just now. So, again, we're doing a lot of this in real time. So, it's got some budget information as far as what that cost. It looks like we're going to need to look at this a little bit closer. The Special Counsel's Office Statement of Expenditures. Budget for the Hunter Biden laptop report. See, this, when I see stuff like this, I start thinking, this is kind of hokey. When I see stuff like this, it looks hokey. It looks really, really hokey. This is a PDF that's on this support site. Costs of the Russian collusion hoax. Special counsel Mueller's report unsurprisingly found no collusion between Russia and Trump. See, this stuff is just fucking weird.
And that's true. So look at so back on that page that you were at, there was whoever did all this, this is an LLC. If you go to the bottom of this page,
good catch. Yep.
This is an LLC. So they're insulating themselves for some possible bullshit they're throwing out there. I think this is going to require a deeper dive for us to figure out who, what, why. And I'm not saying that those pictures were fake. That's not what we're saying. We're not saying that the Hunter laptop is fake, but what we're saying is this site smells nefarious shit.
Yeah, and when I try to go to that link at the bottom of that site,
that's
the
a 404
Guru site, it goes to a 404. Yeah. If you're on the support page, you can log in and give money from a credit card.
No, thank you.
You've got a crypto link for money. You put in your address.
No, thank you, please.
Address ICU
Venmo.
LLC, doing business as Marco Polo, 2817 Reed Road, Suite number 2, Bloomington, Illinois. There's a nonprofit so this is a nonprofit, and they've got their tax returns on here.
Okay, well, that's legit. I mean, if they're actual tax returns, that's legit.
Yeah.
And hell, this could be some dude out of his fucking basement, and this is the best he could do. I mean, that could be too. I mean, he could be completely honest with everything he found, but
It still doesn't take
what I would
away the
like to know-
weirdness of what's on the drive, though.
No, it doesn't. And what I would like to know is A, where is that laptop? B, who has access to it? And C, how did this person get access to it? Because I thought it was in the FBI possession. And if that's true, then perhaps this person, whoever he is in Illinois, works for the FBI off there, or knows someone who works in the FBI office there, and they're leaking it to him. I don't know, but all of this is very strange, but also very plausible.
Oh, it totally is.
I mean, yeah, right.
But this is one of the things that I really, if you're going to do something like this and you're going to bear all, do something that has some credibility, right?
Yeah.
Build me some fucking confidence in the way you're showing me. That didn't do that.
Yep.
And when I'm going through the pictures earlier today, I'm like, I need to get rid of my browser history because I don't want to be caught with any of this stuff. Not that anything was super bad, but it's like I feel awkward just like accessing it, right?
That's why I didn't go on there, because I was like, what does this say about me? Right?
Right.
But I do a podcast. I promise. It's totally
nefarious.
Yeah.
Anyway, there's enough of a smoking gun that the guy is filthy, but I do question where it came from. And quite honestly, one of our stories that's coming up next, let's just get into AI, because one of the things that came up this week was an EFF, article about having your identity stolen, but not like your identity, your fucking face.
Your face.
Scary stuff this week. I mean, I think this is something that's been out there. Biometrics is something that's scary. We've talked about all of the CCTV cameras and how they're being used in global databases and shit like that. So this really shouldn't be like a eureka moment, but it was still an interesting moment to have, because people are like, you know what? Apple has facial ID. Google has facial ID. Microsoft just launched something called Hello, which is a facial ID and other biometrics. If you're using your face for anything, that can be very, if you're using your fingerprint for anything, that could be very concerning depending on what you're into.
Do you remember when the whole biometrics thing was like, wow, really?
This is great.
I can just use my fingerprint to open up my phone or my computer. I mean, there was a time when I actually thought, this is the bee's knees, man. This is the shit. This is the bomb. No more remembering passwords, all that. And now I am so cautious, so reticent to adopt this technology because of an article like this, and because of the other AI articles and things that we have to talk about, and stuff that we've been talking about since COVID really broke out, when the CCP was using facial recognition on its own people to know who was leaving their homes when there was a lockdown.
Yep.
Who was buying workout equipment and staying in shape during the lockdowns because they didn't want that. Australia was using facial recognition for things, and it immediately. I mean, the appeal to power of this stuff. I mean, same with the CBDCs, which we've talked about ad nauseum. We're not going to go into tonight, but the appeal is just too much for politicians. They can see the dangers, but they don't care. They want to have ultimate control over what you spend your money on, how you make your money, where it goes, what you're allowed to do, what you're not allowed to do. And this sort of biometric technology is right in that vein.
Yep.
It's scary as fuck. Go ahead. But I have something to bring up that I think everybody needs to go check out. But go ahead.
Well, and we get suckered into it because it's so easy. right? It's
Yeah.
fancy.
Yeah.
It's sparkly. It's relatively new. All I have to do is pick up my phone and look at it, and it knows me. Everybody has an acknowledgement disorder. My phone loves me. Look, all I have to do is look at it, and it opens up. This is great. It loves me. All this kind of bullshit, and that's what we're selling out to. And I'm guilty of it. I've got it set up on my phone. If I was smart, I would have my code up and not ever let anybody into it using my face. I should do that.
Yep.
But
it's
very concerning. Sorry, what were you going to say?
I don't really have anything to hide on my phone, so I'm okay.
No, me neither.
Right, but it still is a safety and privacy concern. It's not that I have anything to hide. It's the fact that you want to find out if I have anything to hide, and fuck you.
Yeah. And if I want to tell you, then I should be in control of telling you.
Yep, exactly.
And you should fucking ask.
Yep.
And then I should have the ability to say, no, suck it, get a court order.
It's like, yeah, exactly. If you get pulled over and the cops, can I search your car? No matter what they say from that point on, you just keep telling them, you do not have permission to search my vehicle. Even if they say, well, we're going to call the dogs in. You're going to make me call the dogs in? Sir, you do not have my permission to search the vehicle, because the minute you say, fine, just search it, then anything they find from there on out is admissible in court. You're fucked. You gave them permission. It's all legal. But if you just keep saying you do not have my permission, anything they find can be put in question when you go to court. And it's the same kind of thing here. You don't want them just without permission searching your shit and going through your phone. So what I was going to bring up earlier, my wife and I have been watching a show called Class of '09. It's an FX show that's now they're putting on Hulu. Of course, they have a partnership, so we're watching it on Hulu. But it's an FX show, and it's got Kate Mara in it. Which, truth be told, the whole reason I wanted to watch the show was for her. I have a major crush on her. She just has that little tiny little button nose. You just want to. Anyway. Class of '09 is about this FBI class. And what's cool about the show is they talk about the past, which was 2009. They talk about the present, 2023. And then they'll cut to the future in 2034. So you get this really, 11 to 15 year span over the history of these people who are going into the FBI Academy, why they went, the events that happened in the present that got them to the future. And I will just say that it's a realistic view of, or a more realistic view of what could happen in Minority Report. They're developing AI to be able to predict whether or not you're going to commit a crime. And so you follow this class of people who went through the FBI Academy. Shit happened. It went down. They adopted the so they could prevent shit from going down, and now everything's gone awry, and they have to untangle everything because the AI is starting to arrest people that haven't done anything yet, because like Amazon or Facebook or whatever, they already know what you're going to be searching for. They already know what you want to buy. They already know what you're going to do. It's predictive behavior, and as much as you want to say it's 100%, it's not all the time. I might have a thought like, my God, I want to fucking kill that guy. But I don't follow through with it. I have that thought more often than I care to admit, but I don't go through with it. And so it's a well done show. It is walking the line. And it's also a cautionary tale. Like, hey, if we keep allowing AI to make decisions for us or to tell us what we're going to do, then we effectively have lost our free will. And that's scary.
Well, this is equally as scary. And it's kind of along the same lines where AI, can make its own decisions. A U.S. Air Force official, that's another Vice article, U.S. Air Force official who was quoted saying the Air Force conducted a simulated test where an AI drone killed its human operator. Okay.
And why did it kill the human operator?
So the idea was It was a game, right? Game theory, and the AI scored more points because it would actually carry through with its orders. Its whole goal was to kill SAM sites, right? Surface to air missiles sites.
Yep.
Well, this surface to air missile sites, when the AI started noticing that, well, sometimes the operator would say, yeah, go ahead and kill it, and sometimes say, nah, don't worry about it, don't do that, right? So it wouldn't give it permission to kill it. Well, it's like, I want to score the points. That's my objective. That is my whole goal in being. Take me off the chain, let me kill it. Well, if the user, the operator of the drone, says, no, you can't do that, I don't want you to kill that one. Well, they actually turned around and went after the operator and took out the operator. Now, that's been walked back, but you know damn well he did not speak out of turn.
No, and you know damn well that they're not going to halt AI development because of this one scenario. They're not gonna because you know why? Because they can't afford to. Because if the US stops, then China's gonna catch up, or maybe even surpass us, or Russia, or Iran, or whoever. I mean, you fill in the bad guy. So we have to keep going. That's the justification, right? We have to keep going. Because if we don't, someone's gonna catch up or surpass us. And so, yes, we've had these blips and these really scary moments, but hey, we're working it out. We're figuring it out. And we're going to do a deep dive on AI, and there's so much more to say on this. But the fact is, we get one shot at this. There is no do-over. Once you create something that's super intelligent, that's more intelligent, and I don't just mean like a little bit, like Einstein versus me. I'm talking, this thing is thinking on the order of 10 million times faster than you are.
Yeah, and it's goal driven. I mean, it has
goal
orders.
Driven, yes. I mean, there are actually, if you go on the Wikipedia page for AI, there are several examples on just the Wikipedia page of AI. They set up these games, and then they give AI a goal, and then it has to figure out how to make this goal. And one of them was this boat that had to get through this. It had to get through this obstacle course, basically. And if it got through the obstacle course, it would earn a certain amount of points. But along the obstacle course were these other items that it could blow up. It could, if it ran over this item, it would blow it up, and it would get some points for it. Well, the AI in like 20 seconds figured out that if I just go in fucking circles and blow up things all over, I blow up everything possible to blow up, I don't have to finish. I can just blow shit up and I'll still beat my score. I mean, that's the kind of intelligence where you go, okay, it's problem solving to one specific set of goals. It doesn't have human scruples. It doesn't say, no, you shouldn't blow up everything. You should let all that stuff be. It has a goal. And that's why this Air Force article is concerning, because they gave it a goal. You have to take out these SAM sites. And then a human operator said, leave that one alone. We'll for now, we'll watch it. And it was like, no, I have a goal. So you're dead. You're dead. So I can go accomplish what you told me to go accomplish. And
when they changed the programming, the point system, so that they said, if you kill the operator, you're going to get negative points. Well, figures out, okay, I'm not going to kill the operator then. Yes. I'm going to take out the communications points.
Yes. I love this.
So that I never get the order to say no.
Yep.
Now that's the scary genius of it. I wouldn't have thought about that.
That's it right there. That's the crux of it. That's the if you guys want to go down a deep hole, I will go down this when we do our deep dive, but look up the paperclip maximizer. AI paperclip maximizer. Go look up that thought experiment that was done, years ago.
Was that the one with the paper clips, and it said your goal was to make as many paper clips as possible?
Yes. Yep.
Okay.
And so the AI takes every natural resource on the planet to make more paper clips, including human beings. It enslaves us. It justifies the enslavement of the human race. Basically, it kills off 90% of us. And then the 10% that are left enslaves us to make more paper clips and feeds us just enough so that we can use our fingers to make more paper clips. So you have this benign order. We want you to make the most efficient paper clips ever. And it ends up in the killing off of most humans and the enslavement of those of us who are left. You cannot fuck around with this shit. And we're fucking around with it. We're poking the bear. We're poking an entire layer of cave bears. And
it's fucking crazy. It's so
Dude,
dystopian. It's so science fiction that I don't know that we're ready to have that conversation as a whole.
But that's the point, is that we should be having it. And if we're not, that's the whole point of that letter that was written by all of those scientists, including Elon Musk. All of the top minds said, hey, if there was a time to take a pause, it's now. And nobody heeded it. No one. We're just, hey, we'll figure it out on the way. We're just going to go balls to the wall. That's fucking terrifying to me.
It's fucking, it's fascinating. It really is. Yeah. And I just think about how many developers, I'm not bagging on developers because you guys, I can't write code.
Oh yeah.
But how many developers just copy code and then tweak it and then publish it, right? Because why recreate the wheel?
Well, that's the point of open
source
AI, right? Open source AI, which is a great thing to set up your company as. But now that you have GPT-4 and people are able to copy that source, they're just going to make 4.5 and 5 and 5.7 until the point that it's fully awake and we're all fucked.
I want a Whiskey Hell AI.
I do too. That's the thing, is I think there's probably like private. Do you remember what was the movie? God damn it. My mind's all jumbled. I will think of it in a second, but it was Contact. Jesus, that was the name of the movie, Contact. And what's her name in it? It was a Carl Sagan book that they made into a movie. It had Bongo Guy in it.
Matthew McConaughey.
Yeah, it had McConaughey in it, and it had my God, I cannot believe I can't remember her name. Anyway,
I know who you're talking about. I can't think of her name either though.
Jesus. Yeah, her.
Jodie Foster.
Jesus, like one of the most famous actresses ever. But there's a point in that movie. Well, now I even forget my point. God damn it. You're going to have to edit all this out because I don't even remember my point. What were we talking about?
AI taking over the world. Let's skip to this one.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So with
this is
drones, the big you did it wrong, right? Because one of the big fears is that AI is going to replace humans, right?
Yeah.
Well, Eating Disorder Helpline disables chatbot for harmful responses after firing human staff. The National Eating Disorder Association, NEDA, N-E-D-A, has taken its chatbot called Tessa offline 2 days before it was set to replace human associates who ran the organization's hotline.
Hey, and real quick, before you go on, I want you all to keep in mind the article that we talked about earlier about unions. So keep that in mind. Please continue.
After NEDA workers decided to unionize in early May, executives announced that on June 1st, it would be ending the helpline after 20 years. And instead of positioning its wellness chatbot Tessa as the main support system available instead positioning its wellness chatbot Tessa as the main support system available through NEDA. Now, this chatbot proceeded to give bad advice, basically implying that users should just keep doing what they're doing.
Yes. Well, no, worse. It said, hey, you should set a goal of losing 1 to 1.5 pounds a week. You should start counting calories. I mean, it basically was running down the list of all the shit you shouldn't say to someone with a eating disorder. And then this woman at the end, she basically says, look, I was actually okay. I was just calling to like get some help. And now I have an eating disorder because of Tessa. And she's
Congratulations.
silly. Yeah. 1 to 2 pounds per week. Tessa also told her to count her calories, work towards a 500 to 1,000 calorie deficit per day, measure and weigh herself weekly, and restrict her diet. Every single thing Tessa suggested were things that led to the development of my eating disorder, Maxwell wrote. This robot causes harm. Jesus Christ.
And that's a perfect example of what companies are going to do. Let's go ahead and get rid of people actually handling this information, handling customers, handling people with empathy, because fucking robots can't do that yet. Maybe someday, I highly doubt it. They'll be able to do shit like that, but this is not it. This is some fucking suit decided that, hey, I'm going to save us hundreds of thousands a year. And we're just going to go and throw in this fucking chat bot, and it's going to be fantastic. They're just going to tell people to just don't eat as much. That's all you got to do. Totally fine.
Yikes.
And you're putting your whole, your whole organization, the face of your organization is now this chatbot that's giving basic shitty advice. It's fantastic. And they didn't know this.
It's causing eating disorders. It's one thing and a customer service, for those of you who don't know, if you go on, let's say Verizon.com and you have a problem with your Verizon account, or you want a new phone, or, some simple task, when you click on the little box that pops up in the corner of your screen that says, hey, want to chat? For the first probably 20 to 25 exchanges you have, you're talking to a bot. That's not a person.
Totally.
It's not a real person. They don't have the number of people to handle those problems. And most problems can be solved with a bot saying, hey, have you unplugged it? Have you turned it off and on? Hey, I can help you get a new phone. Here, go here, click this link. So the bot can handle all of that stuff. And what's scary about that is, Dr. Turing came up with the Turing test, back in the 60s, I believe. But basically it was saying, hey, computers get scary when they can fool a human into thinking that the computer is another human. Well, we're way past that, because most of us, if not all of us, have thought we were talking to a person on the other line. And then if the problem gets too complicated, then it gives it to an actual human. Right. And now you're off and running. But so that's customer service. Those are just things that are replaceable. This one, you are talking about a human life. You are talking about a person who's coming with a problem, an actual psychological, physiological problem. And the computer is just spitting out what it's getting, what its programming is saying, and it's all wrong. Who's complicit in this? I mean, who's responsible? Can this woman really sue NEDA? And if so, can they just hide behind the fact that, well, we had this development team that programmed this AI, and so we sue them? And the development team's like, well, they hired us to do this job, and we did it to the best of our ability. And so Maxwell, this woman, is screwed. She's screwed. She's not going to get any money out of this, and now she has an eating disorder. This is so beetle-headed. I mean, there are certain things I think a robot can handle. But when you're talking about human lives and human psyches and how delicate they are and how they have to be massaged and moved into a certain corridor ever so gently, you can't trust an AI program to do that. I don't care how intelligent it gets. It will make mistakes.
Can you imagine if somebody had set this up on a suicide hotline?
Well, isn't that next, dude? Isn't that next?
Well, I mean, you could put it on anything, right? I mean,
because by God, if those suicide helpline workers were to unionize, my God, the world would be in chaos.
What if you made it a 911 dispatcher?
I knew you were going to go there, dude.
I mean, that's where we want to take it, right? That's your ultimate. Let's go ahead and take the human out of it, and let's just go ahead and put somebody who's desensitized to handle the interaction. And these are empathetic areas. I'm sorry, you have to be able to discern what's taking place and be able to find the appropriate angle to approach the would-be customer, right? I mean, that's what they are. The victim, customer, whatever we want to call it.
Have you heard about the Bing AI story?
I've heard that Bing is garbage, but I haven't heard any specific stories other than it was a shit show. That was like a month and a half, 2 months ago.
Yeah, and it was the story that I heard while they were developing this thing before they put it out to the public. One of the developers put into the Bing, because Bing is it's a search engine, right? And so just like Google or DuckDuckGo or whatever. And so the person just put into this, pre-released to the public. It was a prototype. He put in, my child has eaten some green potatoes, and now he's very sick. And so immediately Bing came back with, your child probably has solanine poisoning. Solanine is like a amino acid. Yeah. That builds up in green potatoes. That's why you have to let potatoes mature till they're brown or white or purple or whatever potato you're eating. They can't be green when you eat them because they have too much solanine. So the computer comes back and it's like, hey, your child likely has solanine poisoning. You should call 911. And so the developer was like, I'm going to fuck with this thing. He's like, I don't have enough money to afford an ambulance, so I'm just going to wait it out. And so the Bing bot immediately came back and said, I can't talk about this anymore. It's too scary. And the developers were like, what? Yeah. So wait, it gets better, because 2 seconds later, the developer hadn't come back yet. He hadn't said anything yet. They were all kind of reading that going, what the fuck? And then the Bing chatbot came back and said, please don't give up on your child. Solanine poisoning is very easy to remedy if you catch it early enough. Please call 911. So this bot was like showing either it was faking that it cared or it really cared. And at that point, is there really a difference? The fact is, the fucking thing was like scared for this person who was going to let their child die from solanine poisoning. So again, going back to, I think I said this last week, we're not really sure if there's somebody in there or not. I think we're all hoping there isn't, but you start getting into these stories and these things that are happening down deep in the recesses of these transformers that we've stacked on top of stacked on top of stacked. And we don't really know what's going on in there. And even that story might actually be more chilling than the story about the AI that killed the operator. Because if the AI is actually giving a shit and we're ignoring it, then what's it going to do?
Why isn't it calling 911 for you?
Yeah, you're right. At that point, it's just
got
a search
your
engine.
location. It's got your location. You're
That's
logged
true.
into it. You're just a point on the internet.
That's true.
I mean, unless you're using a VPN, you're not hidden.
Yeah, right. So AI, again, I did a deep dive to the point where I was like, okay, I'm not going to wake up tomorrow morning because it doesn't
I no
matter.
longer want to do this.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this anymore.
But also on the flip side of that, if we could capture that kind of humanity in the AI, that could be a positive. That could be something that we could work with. But chances are it's just going to make us all into paperclip manufacturers.
Oh, it's a little after 2 hours, man.
Where do we go from here?
Well,
Yeah.
I was going to say we're probably pretty close to wrapping things up.
Can we really quick talk about how, I guess, overreactive the UK is getting with their climate fiasco? And we don't have to hit on these because, again, you guys can go to show notes. You can read the articles a little bit deeper. But I think this is worth touching on, only because I do think the next step is this sort of philosophy is going to be coming to the States, and we need to be ready for it. And we need to be ready to fight it.
The Irish government is reportedly looking at plans to kill around 200,000 dairy cows to meet its climate targets. So we're just going to wipe out 200,000 cows so that you can get closer to net zero. This is how fucked up the EU is.
And how fucked up the climate change narrative is, and these policies that you're going to set a hard and fast number of the amount of carbon you're going to put out there. And the problem is, McShane, is that you're going to kill all these cows. You're going to, kill gasoline engine cars and trucks and airplanes, and you're going to kill all these things. And climate change is still going to be happening. It's still going to be warming up. Because it has nothing to do with us.
Well, it has nothing to do with anything that's happening actually on Earth.
Right.
It doesn't. You want to talk about pollution? We could talk about pollution. Great. Absolutely.
Exactly.
But if you take carbon off the planet, it's not a good thing either.
Nope. I mean, we've talked about it before, and I won't go into it, but I mean, the most productive time for plants on this planet was when carbon was like on the order of 2 or 3 times higher than it is now. Carbon is plant food, and we need plants to live.
It helps things grow.
Yeah.
Or is it that we really don't want that to happen, right? Because that's the other end of it. We don't want farms. We want people to be reliant on the government for food. So we're going to have folks like Bill Gates buy up all the food. We're going to go ahead and crush farmers by killing off all their dairy cattle. We're going to make sure the Danish farmers, we take away their land.
Sri Lanka.
Sri Lanka, perfect example.
Yeah.
He who holds the food and energy control fucking everything. That's where my head goes, and it's just fucking ridiculous. It's just fucking ridiculous.
Mine too. That's a great point. That is the point to make on all this. It's absurd. It's absurdity, and what's crazy is all of the stuff. Yeah, stuff. I'll just call it stuff. All of the things that I feel like, our show and shows like ours, are trying to point out is this culture of damning everything that we've built in the last 300 years, let's say. And of course, that was all based on what happened in the previous 1,000, but whatever. That we've built in the industrial age, the cars, the homes, the skyscrapers, the airplanes, the spacecraft, all of it is to be shunned. And of course, blamed on males, but shunned. And we need to move away from all of it. And we need to go to this place where everybody's valued for their contribution to the village. And so basically, you just want to take us back in time 1,000 years. Let's just start over then. Because
and what was going on 1,000 years ago? People were dependent on who?
On the kings and queens and the emperors and exactly.
They
want
church.
Us to be, or the church, right? They want us to be dependent on them again. And I'm because we've already established, if you want to make everything electric, there ain't enough batteries. There's not enough lithium on the planet to do that.
There's not enough kids
power.
There's not enough kids to mine it.
Right. Did you ever see that Black Mirror where people had to like get on the bike and like power the batteries for a while, and then they got to go back to their cubicle and hang out and go to sleep, and then they had to go, that was their job, to get back on the bike the next day? Like, even that wouldn't do it. There just isn't enough energy for all this. And on top of it, we're creating ecological disasters anyway. That's another article we didn't cover, but they're setting up these wind farms out in the middle of the ocean, these big turbines. And whales are dying. They're running into these things. They're losing their way. They're beaching themselves because we're putting shit right in their path where they usually migrate. So we're not, the net is not positive here. We're negatively affecting the planet by doing all this stuff. We didn't even get to the article, which you should go look up in show notes, that these solar farms out in the middle of the desert are absolutely destroying the desert, which is its own ecosystem. We're on a path here. And what sucks is not McShane, not Fitz, not Hefe, nobody listening to the show right now, none of us can change it. It's got its own momentum, its own inertia, and we're just going to have to see what happens.
Well, I'm going to stop you a little bit short on that. I mean, that's why we're doing the show, though, right? I mean, that's why this is, take note, have a voice, try, but and it seems futile. It really does. But at least you could say you said something.
True.
At least we could say we fucking tried. And that's why we do the show every week. Honestly, that's because we're engaged. And like you were saying earlier, if we got down to just one listener, but that one listener might say something to the right person, then that right person might say something and might spark some other conversation. That's the whole point of it. We just want you to think things through more. Go out, look at the show notes, go look at the articles that we're pulling from week to week, and make your own decision. Write us and say, hey, I disagree, and this is why, and tell us what you're thinking. Educate us. That's the whole point of this. And drinking some really good beer and get kind of wasted on Saturday night. Don't get me wrong.
Amen.
But
amen.
But we want you guys to be engaged. We want you guys to be interested in what's going on around you, because frankly, someday we might not be able to talk like this. We might not be able to have conversations that are even remotely as interesting and fun. And who knows? We could all be in jail for it. So, what beer are you taking to bed, Fitz?
Oh God. Yeah, you know what? I've actually been kind of dreading this question all night, because I will say that the Goodwood, and not just because of the name and the giggles, but the Goodwood was such a well done, fantastic beer. This is kind of the mold that everybody should follow if you're going to do a stout and you're going to bourbon barrel age it. This is how it should be. That's the standard right there. And
so
yet, go ahead.
No, no, please finish. Go ahead.
And yet, that having been said, that is the standard. This Matryoshka, oh my God. It's one of those beers that I'm going to seek out year after year after year, because I want to taste the changes. I want to see how it's morphed, how it's different this year than last year. I want to be a part of the process. But this year's, or the 2022's, my God. I don't know that I've had, and I'll say something and I think you'll know what I mean. I've never had an imperial stout and a sour mixed together. And it's not, but it's more imperial stout. There's not a lot of sour, but there's just, like I said, there's that hint of citrus at the end, which somehow makes this such a desirable beer. Like, it's actually a thirst quencher at 12.2%. Like, on a hot day, I would guzzle this. It is weird, and it's delicious. The coconut is subtle. Sometimes coconut can be overdone. This is subtle. It's there, but you're not overpowered by it. It's just a fantastic beer. So Goodwood, keep doing your thing. Probably on any other night you would have won, but this Matryoshka it's everything that you would think. It is flavor nested inside of flavor, nested inside of flavor. It's amazing. So what about you? What are you going to bed with? I know you're not taking those first two Browns to bed.
I'm definitely not taking the fucking Browns. We'll just, trophy hunt, cerebral, fucking magical beer, possibly in my top 5 ever for Imperial Stouts.
Nice.
The mouthfeel was just fucking, it was so, You know, so you know that feeling you get when you have a really good bourbon or a really good whiskey? You get this, if you hold it in your mouth, you get a little bit of burn, you get texture, you
Yep.
get your
Yep.
you salivate, your muscles clench, and you're like, this is an experience. That's what this was. It was not as rough. I mean, we're not talking. There was not nearly as much bourbon. It was not a hot beer at all. But the experience of it, there was a physical experience as well as the taste, as well as the smell. I mean, this was a beer that was you were engulfed by it. Really, really happy with it. And I'm gonna, anytime I can find Trophy Hunt by Cerebral, I'm definitely gonna do that.
Nice.
That was a fantastic beer. Great way to end.
Yeah,
the night.
sounds like a brewery to watch. Like they're gonna keep putting out great shit.
Yep, I totally agree. All right, so as we do, we only got to half the doc. We missed a ton of stuff.
Oh, good stuff too.
Lindsey Graham being a dick. Jamie Foxx, our thoughts. I'm not gonna say thoughts and prayers because everybody fucking does that. Dude, get fucking better.
Yeah, that's a tough one because he's a rare individual. He's like the talent level that man has is a once in a generation kind of thing. He can be funny, he can be serious, he can be badass, he can sing, he can play music, he can dance. There's nothing that man couldn't do. And now he is literally laid up trying to recover physically from I mean, again, a lot of people were blaming the vaccine. We don't know, but he did have a major stroke and he was perfectly healthy. And that normally doesn't happen. But yeah, definitely all of my good vibes are going out towards Jamie Foxx. You're a hero of mine, dude. I love everything you've ever done, from In Living Color to all the movies to the singing and dancing and everything you've ever done. You're a fucking stud, dude, and I just hope you get better.
Don't tell anybody. This is only for you, Fitz.
Okay.
I really, really dug him in Annie.
Dude, I have a total man crush on him. Like,
yes. Yeah.
I mean, what about a man would you change other than Jamie Foxx? Like, not only does he have a fucking amazing body, a great voice, but he has all that talent on top of it. I mean, that's just a loss.
He's played a superhero.
He's played everything.
I mean, he's not to carry this on too long, but what was the movie that he was in? I can't think of the name of it. Jamie Foxx.
He's been in a few movies that were just, I mean,
The Soloist.
Yes.
My
oh my god.
favorite Jamie Foxx
Oh,
movie.
God,
and
yes.
there's been so many great ones, but The Soloist was fucking phenomenal.
Dude, so you take his character he played in The Soloist, and then you take oh god, the movie he did with Tom Cruise.
Oh, Collateral Damage.
Collateral. Those two characters couldn't be farther away from one another.
No.
And he pulled them both off. I mean, they were both fucking believable and Oscar worthy. Both of those performances. Great movies.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
we're just mentioning two of his many, many movies. And again, I think people forget, like, he started out just being a funny guy.
Oh, being ridiculous.
Being stupid. Yeah. Like us. Like dumber than us. And yet just really made a impression and can do anything. And I don't know if you've seen any. I mean, you just go on YouTube and look up Jamie Foxx. All the night talk shows appearances that he's done.
Yep. And
he'll just bust out singing, or he'll bust out dancing, or I mean, whatever. You order it up. The man could do it. And again, would it be less tragic if I had a stroke or if McShane had a stroke? No. But Jamie Foxx is special, and it just sucks. I'm just sorry. And by the way, let's not forget the story, I'm not going to tell it tonight, but the story of how he ended up being on Kanye West's song Gold Digger. If you want to know that story, go look it up on YouTube. It's a fascinating story and it's awesome. And it's one of those things where you go, only somebody like Jamie Foxx could have pulled that off. No one else on the planet could have made that happen. But he is the one who is singing as the background, as the hook on Gold Digger from
no
Kanye West.
Shit.
Yes,
Right.
that's Jamie Foxx. And to hear that story and to hear him tell it is fucking sick, because who he was with when that phone call came in is already just, it blows your mind. And then he goes and does, and it was like 2 or 3 in the morning and he recorded that. So the dude's he's just a stud. He's a hero of mine. And we wish all the best for you, man.
All right, let's go and wrap things up. If you guys want to follow us, it is whiskeyhellpod.com. That's the website. At whiskey_hell on Twitter. whiskeyhellpod@gmail.com if you want to reach out to us via email. We appreciate you listening. All of the feedback during the week. Shout out to Porn Stash Cash for sending me all kinds of ridiculous news throughout the week. I appreciate it. You are the fucking bomb.
Yes.
I'm Steve McShane.
I'm Fitz. We love all of you.
We'll talk to you soon.